Segment 3, the Constitution and the Masses. Back now to Reagan's 1964 address. In the excerpt that we're about to hear, Reagan refers to a speech given here at Stanford, where we're recording this, by Senator J. William Fulbright of Arkansas. You remember J. William Fulbright. Do you, Rob? Or did
I know the name. It's vague. As you know, I'm quite young.
Okay, and then Reagan also quotes Senator Joseph Clark of Pennsylvania. Ronald Reagan in 1964.
Senator Fulbright has said at Stanford University that the Constitution is outmoded. He referred to the president as our moral teacher and our leader. And he says he is hobbled in his task by the restrictions of power imposed on him by this antiquated document. He must be freed so that he can do for us what he knows is best. And Senator Clark of Pennsylvania, another articulate spokesman, defines liberalism as meeting the material needs of the masses through the full power of centralized government. Well, I, for one, resent it when a representative of the people refers to you and me, the free men and women of this country, as the masses.
Amen.
Amen.
I mean, why can't you? This is terrific stuff, Rob. I mean,
it's my fault now.
No. But why can't we do like that Avatar thing? Why can't we get some computer-generated animatronic figure and get him on the road saying that kind of stuff right now? Because I wish there was a guy who put it in those terms right now.
First of all, he dresses just like he's like Mad Men. Have you seen this show?
Oh yes, that's right.
He looks he's right out of Mad Men. It's fantastic. But, yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean,
okay,
it really seems incredibly contemporary.
J. William Fulbright, the president. Fulbright was talking about Lyndon Johnson. But does this not sound as though it encapsulates a certain attitude? The President of the United States is our moral teacher and our leader.
Oh, I know, it's ludicrous. But what's interesting, I mean, just from perspective of 2010.
And does not Barack Obama come to mind?
Yes, I think so.
All right,
I mean, absolutely. But I think what's even more shocking, when you hear that, if you're a contemporary sort of American, you hear that, you think, well, it's a little bit too much, isn't it? I mean, what's really going to happen? But if you were 19, from the perspective of early 1960s, 15 years before, Europe was in the grip of fascism, where people were, the leaders were the moral teachers. I mean, 15 years ago was 1995. That's actually quite recent. 15 years before he gave that speech, well, Franco was still in power. There was still a dictator in Portugal. There was a dictator, a moral leader and father in the fatherland in the Thousand-Year Reich in Germany. I mean, the idea was that these things really could happen. Civilized nations could go south.
I hereby unleash you on our friend Rob Long to dispute the notion that these days that's a little bit too much, that you really have to cast your mind back from 2010 to about 1944 in order for Ronald Reagan to sound reasonable.
Well, no, but no. To put it in its more benign terms, I think what is fascinating to me about the Obama age and about what Senator Fulbright was saying is what you might call the persistence of the monarchical urge 2 1/3 centuries after George III was given the boot. Is that there is a lot of people do want a strong, charismatic leader who knows what's best for you. I don't. I like citizen legislators, and I don't regard the President of the United States as my leader. I don't regard, never mind regarding Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi as my leaders.
They're not your spiritual leaders that you look to of a Sunday afternoon for. That's exactly right. He's the chief executive of the administrative branch of government, and that's it. Yeah. And this idea, I always thought that the best thing that George W. Bush could do after relaxing for a little bit on his ranch, maybe playing with the dogs, is run for Congress. And be the congressman from Crawford, Texas, and teach everyone, like John Quincy Adams, teach everyone that you are not a...
Or Andrew Johnson.
Yeah. Really? He was a...
Didn't Andrew Johnson
not after
impeachment? I thought he didn't.
Did he? All right. Well,
he's been schooled in American history by a mere immigrant.
Well, I might just be winging it.
Send your emails to...
It's question 37 on the citizenship test, if you want to get...
Rob, this notion that Reagan is saying these liberals are chafing at this sacred document, the Constitution of the United States, 1964. Rick Hertzberg, just a few months ago, writing in The New Yorker, quote, he writes of, quote, the obsolescence of our 18th century political and electoral hydraulics, such as the separation of powers, and the lack of a single government accountable to a national electorate, so much for the Constitution. This impulse to find the Constitution a binding document rather than to respect the ordered and the checks and balances, that's still in liberalism today, is it not?
Well, sure, it's a great Rorschach test, because if you find the Constitution binding and too restrictive, it just makes me all the more grateful we have a Constitution, right? Because if you're of the political mind that you think, well, this is a little too restrictive, I have other plans,
right,
then I'm certainly glad we have a Constitution. I think if you don't embrace the fact that, you win some, you lose some, it's sort of chaotic. I mean, the document isn't fully formed, right? Lots of room for people to fight over it all the time, but it's sort of elastic and constricts at the same time. That to me is a good document.
Well, or the word that, I don't know whether it was Fulbright or Clark, the word they used, our great leader is hobbled, quote. Well, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think Saddam Hussein could have done with more hobbling. I think Kim Jong-il would benefit from a certain amount of hobble. I think that's good.
Okay, now let me try one. This may be going to, even I grant that I may be going a little bit too far here, but Reagan resenting Senator Clark of Pennsylvania, referring to the American people as the masses. Okay, so I think of Barack Obama's acceptance speech at the Democratic National Convention where they had it outside in a stadium and there was one tight shot. One person was recognizable as an actual human being. That was Barack Obama. Everybody else, these huge shots of the stadium in which everybody else was it was very different from typical American convention coverage where the halls are small, you can see people in front, you can see the actual delegations. And then on Inauguration Day, I'm trying. Yeah. Inauguration. If you grimace, I'll go to Mark with this one.
I know.
So on Inauguration Day, when the crowds were chanting "Obama, Obama," that was too much, no? Un-American a little bit.
Well, in retrospect, it seems silly. It seems like this kind of wild drunkenness. I don't know about the. Perhaps the inauguration speech. I accept a little bit your point. In the convention speech, whoever they pan to from conventions since they've been televised is some absurd-looking person in a crazy hat. Yeah. So it isn't as if you're sort of an elevated citizen there. Look at the citizen legislator here.
No, but it's a distinct human being.
A distinct human being in a crazy hat.
See, he says
I'm a distinct human being in an insane hat.
Yeah,
that's all right.
But even if he's not in the hat, if he's just like a guy in a stained seersucker suit, he's an individual. And this is the first time where I agree with Reagan. I don't think we should be referring to people as quote the masses, unquote, under the great leader. And I think there was far too much of that in the whole Obama thing. That pledge video that a bunch of celebrities made. I hate to keep beating up on Hollywood, but which
you don't.
Ashton Kutcher made.
I pledged. It was almost like it was.
Yeah, I pledge myself to be a servant of my president and mankind. Well, include me out. Sorry,
right.
That's that. I'm not a. There are 300 million individuals in this country, and this idea that there are amorphous, shapeless masses. And it's not. I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a Nuremberg thing. But what it is it's like an Ivy League technocratic thing. That's what we have now, which in a way is worse. It's more annoying than the guys in the wacky shorts goose stepping down the street, because at least you get a bit of kind of crude theater with that. But what we have here now is just like a technocratic elite deciding that the masses are too stupid to get through life without having things like healthcare and whatever organized for them.
They're not even on a mission; they're just smug.
Right. Yeah. But also, they're sort of they're firemen. You know, there's always that talk in the healthcare forum that when Nancy Pelosi took over the House in 2007, I guess when she was sworn in, this kind of idea that it's for the kids. People are dying. You don't understand. We're here to help the kids in death, and we're here to help. And this sort of insane idea that, my God, if left to our own devices, we'd all just die and wither if we didn't have Harry Reid and Barack Obama to sort of give us things. Because otherwise, good Lord, how can we make a decision on what doctor to go to?